she alleged that he had, quote, an adolescent both in length and width.
It wasn't impressive. It worked. I mean, it was, if I had to describe it exactly, it was, thin, skinny, and I've seen better,
Diddy just got caught red-handed, and now there's no way out. The courtroom fell silent as one of his alleged victims stood up and said it with her whole chest. His privates looked like a Tootsie Roll, and it only got worse from there.
There was some episode you described where Sean Combs walked out of the room, and you asked her a question, and she shushed you and said, no, we can't talk until he comes back in the room. Is that true? Is that what happened? Is that the correct description?
Yes, that did happen, and I realized I would like to keep I'm going to try to keep our private moments a little more between us moving forward. But there was a moment, where the acts were happening and Diddy left the room, and I forget what I had said, but I kind of just like, hey, what about this or that? I forget what the topic was. But it was a moment where I kind of had a realization of the depths of the situation where it is, because she was, we were passionate seconds before, and then the next moment you could tell there was something that had come over her in a sense that she knew it may cause jealousy or something of the nature if her and I interacted in some way with him not there.
I love 2024. We got women out here just discussing the size of Diddy's little diddler stick and laughing about it. I always thought the dudes who would pull stuff like this were overcompensating for a little something. How you gonna have the audacity to have that many victims and be short and thin, bruh? Pick a damn wiener struggle. Dude just out here offending with no bulge in the front of his pants. That's like bringing a 22 to a damn gunfight.
Jenny Mullen broke her silence, publicly revealing P. Diddy's very small body part. She even said, "It's not even as big as my son's." Jenny recently revealed in an interview that when she was 19, she was introduced to Diddy on the street by his bodyguard. At the time, she wasn't wearing a fancy dress, but a cheap cotton shirt and ugly jeans. Despite that, Diddy warmly shook her hand and invited her to a party. Jenny sarcastically told reporters, "Diddy's hand is the smallest I've ever seen, and it's almost the same size as my son's hand." Keep in mind, Jenny is the wife of American Pie actor Jason Biggs, and their eldest son is only 12 years old. Jenny decisively rejected this awkward invitation. She felt relieved to have dodged a bullet, especially after prosecutors found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant in Diddy's mansion. Jenny couldn't imagine what would have happened if she had attended the party, possibly being caught on tape wearing her ugly shirt. After all, lawsuit documents revealed that Diddy had installed countless hidden cameras in his Los Angeles and Star Island properties. He recorded videos of multiple celebrities.
The entire courtroom gasped, cameras clicked, lawyers scrambled, but there was no spinning this one. A woman identified only as Jane Doe took the stand and described in explicit detail what happened the night she said Diddy violated her. But the detail that had jaws on the floor? She compared his private parts to a large Tootsie Roll. Yeah, you heard that right. This wasn't just shocking, it was humiliating. The woman testified that during the alleged 2001 assault, Diddy exposed himself and, in her words, looked like candy. The analogy set the internet on fire and left Diddy's legal team frozen in disbelief. His lawyers weren't prepared. How could they be? The image alone became an instant meme. TMZ picked it up. Late night comedians ran with it. But behind the laughter was a dark truth. A graphic, disturbing testimony in a federal court that painted Diddy as a violent predator. And Jane Doe wasn't done. She went into detail about how she met Diddy in an elevator, how he invited her over multiple times, and how by the fourth visit, things turned terrifying. She claimed he locked the door, grabbed her throat, and told her, "I'm gonna suck the life out of you." And the world heard every word. That moment didn't just go viral, it cracked open the dam. As Jane Doe described the Tootsie Roll incident, a wave of other allegations resurfaced. Lawyers scrambled to control the narrative, but the damage was done. This wasn't some tabloid headline. This was federal court, and everything was on the record. It came at the worst possible time for Diddy. Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, was set to testify the same week. She'd already filed her own disturbing lawsuit, filled with claims of abuse, coercion, and surveillance. With both testimonies hitting back to back, Diddy's defense started falling apart. Over 60 lawsuits were already pending against him, and with each passing day, more victims stepped forward. The Jane Doe lawsuit included claims of emotional trauma and physical abuse. She didn't just want justice, she wanted a jury to hear everything. And the public, they were done. Diddy had always walked a fine line between mogul and menace, but now, with victims speaking out in court and media outlets covering every word, there was no going back. But if you thought the Tootsie Roll comment was the peak of the trial, think again, because that was just the appetizer. Prosecutors opened the door to something even darker, something they called FreakOFFs. According to the indictment, Diddy ran a twisted operation where women were manipulated, threatened, and recorded during bizarre adult-themed performances that lasted for days. These weren't random parties, these were organized productions, complete with hired male workers, substances, and surveillance equipment. Victims were allegedly drugged, coerced, and recorded in what prosecutors described as a systematic enterprise of abuse. Federal raids on Diddy's Miami and LA mansions uncovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. 1,000, that's not a stash, that's stock for something industrial, and guess what? They even found scheduled fourth drips to help people recover from these sessions. IV fluids, after parties. This wasn't Hollywood glitz, this was straight up exploitation, and the feds had receipts. It gets darker. Prosecutors allege that Diddy didn't just organize these freak-offs, he recorded them, often without consent. These videos, according to court documents, were later used as leverage. Victims who tried to leave were reminded, "We've got you on camera." Imagine the fear. You're drugged, abused, filmed, and then blackmailed. That's not just manipulation. That's control on another level. And Cassie confirmed it. She told the court that Diddy had entire rooms wired with hidden cameras, rooms with special lighting, rooms with props, rooms where nothing happened by accident. Everything was filmed, everything was saved. One of the most disturbing details, Diddy allegedly made Cassie take the bodily fluids from male escorts and rub them on his chest, on camera. That's not just disturbing, that's depraved. When Cassie walked into that courtroom pregnant and composed, the room shifted. She didn't yell, she didn't cry, she told the truth. She detailed years of abuse, years of threats, years of being trapped in a world she didn't choose. She described freak-offs where she was forced to perform, sessions where she begged to stop but couldn't. Text messages confirmed it, photos confirmed it, the videos, they confirmed everything. Cassie's testimony was devastating. Diddy's attorneys didn't dare cross-examine her aggressively, not while she was carrying a child, not while the world was watching. This was the testimony that broke the case wide open. Diddy's legal team tried everything. First, they argued it was all consensual, then they blamed the media, then they blamed race, but none of it worked. When a client's facing over 60 lawsuits, blaming the system doesn't hold up. During opening arguments, Diddy's lawyer admitted he was a bad boyfriend, that he was controlling, that he had anger issues, but they claimed it wasn't criminal. The jury didn't buy it, especially not after Cassie, especially not after Jane Doe, especially not after the surveillance video dropped. In March 2016, a hidden camera at the Intercontinental Hotel caught something horrifying. Diddy, caught on surveillance, chasing down Cassie in a hallway, grabbing her, throwing her, kicking her. He didn't know the footage existed, but Israel Flores did. The former hotel security guard, now an LAPD officer, took the stand and testified about what he saw that night. He said Cassie was begging to leave. He said Diddy was trying to keep her locked in. He said the footage was real. And when the court played it, Diddy looked down. He couldn't face the truth. The same man who built his empire on power and prestige was now crumbling under the weight of a hidden camera he never saw. This is it, the hidden cameras, the Tootsie Roll testimony, the videos, the raids, the lawsuits, the victims. All of it is coming down at once. Prosecutors aren't backing off. Cassie's testimony keeps hitting. More victims are coming forward. The media isn't letting it go. And the federal government is treating this like organized crime, because it is. Diddy didn't just mess up. He built an entire system based on control, fear, and abuse. And now, That system is falling. His lawyers are switching strategies weekly. He's reportedly been denied bail. Multiple properties have been raided, hidden hard drives seized, surveillance tapes secured, and insiders say he's losing sleep, pacing in his cell, terrified of what evidence comes out next. Because here's the truth. When you film your crimes, eventually the footage becomes the judge. Diddy tried to bury the truth, but now he's the one getting buried.